If you are looking to move into the Salt Lake City area, look no further than right here in order to know exactly what our market looks like. And I'm doing this every Monday. So let's look at what it looks like right now for the last week and from the beginning of the second quarter, from the beginning of March. And let's look first at supply versus demand. If we look at this, supply is the blue line on the top of this chart. And we see it trending nowhere but up throughout the entirety of this second quarter so far, while the number of homes that are currently under contract in Salt Lake County is that green line on the bottom of this chart. And we see that coming up, but barely. And so there's a widening gap that continues between supply and demand, and that puts downward pressure on home prices. And so this is a good thing for buyers. Another way to look at demand is how many homes are selling week over week. And this shows us that that has really averaged across the entirety of the second quarter at about 200 homes a week. We sold 212 this last week. This is another way of seeing that the demand is somewhat flatlined. And what's that doing to prices? Whether it's average asking price or median sold price is the difference between those two lines on this chart here. We can see that throughout the second quarter, it's really flatline doesn't really adequately describe this chart, does it? Because it's gone up and down a whole lot. But if we drew a trend line through them, they'd be going up the tiniest bit, but still going up. So all that pressure, that downward pressure on home prices here in the Salt Lake area isn't quite enough to turn home prices the other way. And I wonder if our flatlining demand has anything to do with our interest rates. Now, interest rates aren't just a Utah thing, obviously. They're a national thing, but 6.65%, right where it was last week. Higher than it's been all year for sure. Higher than it's been since like the middle of the year in 2025. So as I keep saying, when we get out of our kerfuffle with Iran and the Strait of Hormuz opens up and the inflation on oil comes back down, that will inevitably bring interest rates back down as well. So we're all crossing our fingers, praying, hoping, and waiting for that to happen. In the meantime, our market is what it is.